I've talked about on occasion, both in video and in vlogs and in comments to vlogs, talking about how I like painting minis. Like, for example, Bosk is, as I'm doing this vlog, Bosk is in the middle of getting painted. I'm kind of in the highlight stage now. I've been adding the highlights to the yellow uniform, and I'll continue on with the other things. I'm not real happy with my highlighting so far. I'm still learning. I'm not real happy with it, but doing this and making the mistakes here has taught me some things about how to hopefully avoid those mistakes in the future. But I've had a couple of people message me and say, hey, I'd like to try and build some of those figures, but sometimes they can get kind of expensive, which is true. If you want to build, if you just, I remember when a friend of mine first started building Warhammer, and he showed me a Space Marine figure he had built, and I'm like, oh, that's a little bitty model. What's that, like $10? And he's like, well, no, I had to get a set of them, and that was like $45 or whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't want to spend $45 for 6 or 8 models, and I'm only wanting to build one of them. So you can get them used off of eBay sometimes, or maybe a friend will just give you one of theirs. But I found a great way to, if you want to try building some, specifically Games Workshop Warhammer, Warhammer 40K and Age of Sigmar minis, a great way of doing that that's not real expensive. They've got these books, just short books, getting started with Warhammer 40K and getting started with Age of Sigmar. And the books themselves, they're nice magazines, and they have some nice ideas for painting, but they go all into detail about what the game's about. And the Age of Sigmar one has like the rules set in it, and here's how to play the game and all of that. And if you're like me, I'm not interested in building or playing the game, not at all. I'd rather spend my Saturdays here at home working on models rather than going down to the local shop and playing a game. Just a preference thing. Mainly because I got to spend time to get these videos done. But these 2 books each come with 2 figures. So this one comes with a Space Marine, and these are called Necrons. And then this one comes with a Stormcast Eternal, and I think this is called an Auric or something like that. Auric, a green bad guy. Comes with that, and these are, I don't know if I already mentioned this, these are $15. So you get 2 figures with each book for $15. Now, the way they say it is you get the book and then the figures are free, but yeah, here it is. Sorry, shiny object. Here it is. It's the Stormcast Eternal and Cruel Boy Auric. So whatever those are. But you get the figures with these books, and that way you can get a variety of figures. Like if, let's say that these Aurics interest you, well, you get this, you get the Stormcast Eternal and the Auric. It's $15, and it's a great way to get into painting them without a lot of money. Now, I've built the minis, and they're push fit. They're easy to put together. Do some test fitting. They don't actually have instructions on how to do it, and you do have to do it in a certain order, but it's not difficult to figure out at all. But they've got, like these have, the Auric is standing on a rock. So when you build this, it'll have something on the base. This one has he's standing on this, and then they give you a skull to put into the base there, because it wouldn't be, Warhammer 40K or Age of Sigmar if there wasn't a skull somewhere. They just seem to be obsessed with skulls. The Space Marine and the Necron, the bases here are actually have more detail on them. They're a little nicer in terms of the bases and how they look. But the thing about painting minis, and if you're watching this and you're going, yeah, but I don't care about painting minis. and that's fine. I understand that. There was a long time I looked at this and I thought, I don't want to paint these. I don't see any point in. I mean, I like watching them, but what's the point of painting minis? But when I started trying painting minis, what it basically did, I thought I was already a pretty good brush painter because I've brush painted a lot of cockpits and details and airplanes. I mean, I've done brush painting hundreds of times. It's not something I've never done, you know, and I thought, okay, I'm a pretty good brush painter. Let me get in here and start painting these up. And I thought, okay, I'll discover a few things, and pretty soon I'll get to a level that I'm happy with. I was wrong. The level of brush control and understanding of thinning and mixing paints and how paints interact when they go over each, it's been a whole new learning experience for me in painting minis. So to me, the benefit is not so much that I end up with a painted mini, which is cool. I mean, I do like doing that. I'm going to have a video about it. I'm starting to enjoy it in its own right. But when I work on other projects, I've really, really seen a huge difference in my ability to execute things when it comes to brush painted detail that I didn't have that skill before, because nothing I did worked on those skills as much as painting minis does. Painting the cockpit of an aircraft, yeah, you get a few edges to paint, and you get there's a few things to do, and even if you do it repetitively, it doesn't stretch you. But when you're trying to, get shading and blending and bring out details on something like this, it stretches you. It really does. And I would not have thought when I started painting minis that it would give me the benefit that doing so has. I would have never guessed that. It's really surprised me. It really has. I'm having trouble finding even words to say how much it has stretched me. And it doesn't have to be Warhammer minis. I mean, anything small with complicated shapes is going to force you to think about things. And if you're trying to really put in shadow and highlight, and I'm not just talking about, painting the base colors, throwing some wash on it, then doing a layer of highlights. That looks cool, and that's a starting point. But when you start going from that basic stuff like you see on the Games Workshop on Warhammer TV, the very basic stuff they show, to, okay, how does, a guy like Sarastro do it? How does a guy like Duncan Rhodes do it? How does a guy, even more, how does a guy like Trovarian? Check his channel out. How does he do that kind of stuff? Angel Heraldez, his stuff is in Spanish, but there's subtitles. He's a great painter. When you start looking at how they do stuff like that and you start trying to replicate it, if you're like me, you're going to find out you've got some serious work to do to get anything close to that. But it it has stretched my skills further than I ever thought I could go with brush painting, that I didn't even realize I needed to go there to help it out. So if you want to get into painting some minis, check these out. It may be a good way to do that.